Queen of Kings, and this is my story. I was born in Macedonia, which is now called Greece.
Had been ruling Egypt for 300 years by the order of Alexander the Great. From a young age, I was gifted with an intelligence that made me stand out amongst my siblings, and I used this to my advantage. My father, the king, was always very proud of me. He would often take me to the banks of the Nile to watch the boats go by. One day as we were sailing through it, I spotted a little boy who fell off a boat opposite us. There was chaos, and his mom was screaming. I instantly leapt into the river and saved the boy.
Cleopatra, what were you thinking? Why did you do that?
Because that's what you taught me. You always say the purpose of life is to help others.
Well, you certainly succeeded in that. My darling Cleo, you are going to be a queen one day. I'm sure of that. And you'll be wearing a bigger crown than mine.
I was always my daddy's girl. We'd laugh and joke around, play games together, and making silly faces. Whenever I'd get scared, he'd always be there to comfort me. He was my protector and my best friend. He made sure I had everything in the world. I lived the most luxurious life in my palace, but I was ready to break out of my royal bubble and explore the world. So every night when the palace was asleep, I'd sneak out and explore the streets of Alexandria. I'd dress up as a commoner and go out with my best friend Naya. We loved blending in with the locals and acting like normal people. It was something that I'd kept secret from my father. I couldn't help but be fascinated by the world outside the palace walls. One time, I was returning from a fun night out with Naya when I saw my brother standing with some guards while a crowd of people protested. They were shouting at the top of their lungs in the Egyptian language. My brother didn't speak.
Go back home. We hate the king.
What are they saying?
Nothing much, my prince. Just how much they love the king. Oh, wonderful. Tell them to say it louder.
My brother wasn't the brightest jewel in the treasure chest and was often an annoying dork who was constantly jealous of me. But still, he was my brother. And seeing those guards making a fool of him, I felt my blood boil. I couldn't just stand there and let them. I knew I was going to be in big trouble because my dad would find out I went outside the palace. But I had to do something. Enough. Listen to me and listen loud and clear. Egypt is my father's and my home. We are not going anywhere. This protest ends now. And as for you two, my brother might not understand Egyptian, but I understand it just fine. I grabbed my brother's hand and walked away. Once my father learned what had happened, he was super proud of me and gave me a red diamond as a gift. I was so happy and showed it to my siblings, but instead of being proud and happy for me, they looked kind of pissed.
I can't believe it. Are we gonna forget about the fact that she sneaked out of the palace just because she said some words in Egyptian?
OMG, you are so ungrateful. I helped you, you idiot.
I didn't need your help.
Then he chased after me to get the diamond, but I hid behind my dad just in time.
Ptolemy, enough. You should be grateful to your sister. You should have been the one to stand up against those protesters to defend your king. But alas, you never paid attention to your Egyptian tutors. On this day, I declare Cleopatra, the queen of Egypt, after me. I'll never let that happen.
You can try, but even you know it. I'll be a queen, the greatest queen in history. As time passed, the bitterness between my brother and I only grew. He was always trying to get under my skin, from constantly mocking me to making my best friend his girlfriend just to annoy me. And when my father left, it was my time to reign. My brother had me locked in my room and crowned himself the king. You knew it was my right to rule. Get off the throne now. You can try. You little... I so wanted to scratch his face, but the guards caught me.
Yeah, right. Like you can beat me? Please, you really think you can win? Oh, Cleo, you're dreaming. Here's the deal. You can stay here in the palace, but you gotta keep your mouth shut or get out of here. Your call.
I knew my brother was completely clueless when it came to ruling a kingdom. He'd probably ruin everything that my dad and our ancestors had worked so hard to build. There was no way I was gonna let that happen. So I decided to stick around and keep an eye on him. My brother was ruling like the total moron he was. He raised taxes, lowered wages, and just wanted the people of Egypt to keep building pyramids for him. Everyone was getting more and more pissed off, and it was actually kind of good for me. If the people hated him, they'd want me to take over. But I couldn't just sit there and watch my people suffer. So I decided to take matters into my own hands. Once again, I started to sneak out of the palace at night to visit my allies. Together, we planned to rise against the king. One night, as I returned to the palace, I bumped into someone. It was Naya. She was now married to my brother. Cleo, please don't tell him. Hey, calm down. What are you doing here? I hate him. He's a cruel king, and I know he's plotting something. I don't want to be a part of this. I want to run away. She broke into tears and hugged me. I soothed her and told her how everything would be all right, because my allies and I would throw my brother off the throne. But the next day, I woke up to guards storming my room, and then I got the news that all my allies had been thrown into the dungeon. My heart sank bank, and I knew my brother had found out about our plans. I looked up, I saw my ex-bestie smirking with my brother. She had betrayed me. You snake. You were never my friend. You just wanted power. Power is what this world is all about. You should know that by now. My brother punished me by sending me away to a village, but I was determined to find a way to take over and free my people. Even though I had been caught, just a few months later, I heard how one of the most powerful leaders in Rome, Julius Caesar, was visiting Egypt to form a friendly relation between the countries. I knew that if I could win him over to my side, then I would be able to regain my throne. I had heard that Julius was a great leader, and I was determined to meet him. With the help of some trusted villagers, I entered the city. I had dressed up as a soldier in his army, hoping it would give me a chance to get close to him. As I approached, I saw him. He was even more handsome than I had expected.
Soldier, can you carry this bundle of supplies for me? Sure thing.
And right then, something awful happened. My hair came undone. Julius looked at me, shocked. I can explain. I need your help. But before I could even finish my sentence, I saw a group of my brother's guards coming towards me. We'll meet again. I just couldn't shake this intense connection between us, and I knew I had to find a way to see him again. So, I took a chance, and I crept into Julius's room, swaddled in a rug. When I unrolled myself, his face was totally...
Simlac 8 School with Prodigy supports faster connections for faster learning.
I unrolled myself. His face was totally blown away. Then he gave me a funny smile.
Hey, soldier girl.
General, I am here to discuss important matters. I am Cleopatra, the rightful queen of Egypt, and I need your help. We must overthrow my brother. He's a
Cruel king? Yes. I knew that as soon as I saw the common folk.
So, will you help me or not?
Why should I help you?
What do you mean? You said yourself. My brother is not fit to be a king.
I mean, what do I get?
What do you want? Jewels, diamonds, lands, a pyramid in your honor?
Oh no, none of that. Marry me, and I'll help you.
Wow, outrageous. Fine, the guy sure was handsome, but marrying him, I wasn't so sure. But I was also willing to do anything to overthrow my brother. Well, desperate times call for desperate measures. I agreed, and Julius kept his promise the very next day by bringing me to court. In front of the entire palace, he shoved my brother away and had me sit on the throne. I told you, brother, I'll be a queen.
No, you can't do this. This means war. Julius, I swear I'll destroy Rome. Oh, really? But how? All by yourself? I have my army. Guards, take him to the dungeons.
And get that witch off the throne. But none of the guards moved. My brother and my ex-bestie were in shock. You have let down the people of Egypt. No one will ever favor you. Guards, show them to the dungeons. As they were both taken away, I looked at Julius and smiled. He had kept his promise, and I kept mine and married him. And in a few years, we had a son. Life was sweet, and Egypt flourished like never before under my rule. But we also made a few enemies. Rome, my previous ally, was one of them. With Julius by my side, I could take them on without worry. But then, something terrible happened. I lost Julius. I was devastated, but I knew I had to be strong and carry on for my people and take care of the kingdom alone now. I started visiting villages to check on the people. Everywhere I went, they were suffering from floods and famines. They were scared and hopeless. I started making plans to help. I gave them food, shelter, and clothing. I also built new farms and storehouses for grain to make sure that no one went hungry. The people were really grateful, and slowly their lives began to improve. They started calling me their savior, and I even started to hear stories of how I was the kindest and wisest ruler in all of Egypt. One day, I was walking through the village disguised as a commoner when I heard two children talking. Did you hear that Cleopatra is the bravest and most powerful ruler ever? I know, right? I heard she can control the weather, too. My mom said she's like the goddess Isis. No, she is even better. It's nice to be appreciated. Just as I turned, I bumped into someone, a man whose face was covered. He had the bluest eyes I had ever seen. And just as I was about to remove his mask, he backed away and ran off. That was strange. That day when I went home, I received a letter from Rome. The Romans had been jealous of seeing Egypt flourish under my rule and were always trying to pick a fight. But when I read that the letter was from Julius's adopted son Octavian, I decided to read it. Octavian wanted Rome to be friends with Egypt and invited me and my son to visit. I was ready to leave for Rome, but right then, a man with his face covered entered the palace, and I instantly recognized his blue eyes as the same man I'd seen in the market that day. Who are you, and why are you here? Are you stalking me?
I am Mark Antony from Rome. I was sent here to spy on you, my queen. Seeing how kind you are to your people, I want to support you.
Mark and I talked, and he told me how he was a close friend of Julius. He told me not to go to Rome because it would be a trap. I had an idea, and I was willing to take a risk. When I reached Rome, I was surprised by the glares people on the street gave me. It was evident that I wasn't very welcome there. The moment I entered the palace, my son and I were captured, and then I saw someone from my past, my brother.
You'll pay for what you did to me.
You? How did you get here?
I escaped prison, and then I made a deal with Octavian to call you here and then capture you.
It was just way too easy, Cleo. And I'd heard so much about you being the smartest woman alive. I told so many lies to the people of Rome about you, and with your brother,
I made plans to ruin you. Now, I will rule not only Rome, but also Egypt. Why are you laughing? Me? It's just that you both look so stupid telling me all this. You think I didn't know? Ever since I got your letter, I knew you were up to something. And when your own general visited me, I was sure. Right then, Mark Antony entered the room, along with the members of the Senate. They had heard everything and wanted to arrest Octavian, but some of his trusted guards attacked my own guards. You both will never get out of Rome. Watch us. Mark and I ran out of the palace. We both raced through the street as Octavian and his men chased us. Finally, when we were out of the city, I took a breath. Behind me, Octavian stopped in his tracks and his eyes fell out of their sockets. Hey, say hello to my army. Attack!
Cleopatra was one of the greatest rulers in human history. She was a powerful force that left a lasting legacy. She's inspired paintings, a play by William Shakespeare, operas, songs, comics, video games, and many movies.
Today, she's celebrated for her intelligence, ambition, and strength.